And we are live.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Hello and welcome to today's meeting. Today is June the 26th. It is officially now 4:02, so I'd like to call to order tonight's meeting. I am Amber and I am here. Angela is absent tonight. David? Sarah is absent as well. Shannon?
Present.
Olivia?
Present.
Craig?
Present.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. If I can have you all please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Moving on to the approval of the agenda, I would like to ask for an approval for the agenda with two revisions that are needed on items 10C and 10D. Those are actually action items. So with that said, can I please get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstains? The ayes have it. Motion approved. Moving on to the approval of the minutes. Can I get an approval to approve the minutes?
All motion.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstains? The ayes have it. Motion approved. Moving on to communication from the public. Do we have anyone out of Santa Clarita that would wish to speak tonight?
No, we don't have anyone in Santa Clarita.
Awesome. Thank you so much for confirming, Julie. Do we have anybody out of Redlands that would like to speak tonight?
No one from Redlands.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for confirming. And do we have anybody here tonight that would wish to speak? Okay, thank you so much for confirming. Moving on to comments from board members concerning items not on the agenda. Do we have any comments? Okay. Moving on to report and communication to the board of directors done by Olivia Duran.
Being that this is the second board meeting of the year, I just wanted to introduce our new executive assistant, Renee. So she's here with us training on the board meetings. So I wanted to acknowledge her. She's jumped in and learning the ropes and slowly but surely picking up the tasks of an executive assistant. So excited for that because it helps relieve some of the duties that was taken on by HR just to help until we got the position filled. So excited for her. Welcome aboard, Renee. And other than that, it's the business, all the teachers are off, business office is working, getting caught up on just year-end things and looking forward to PDD in August, so.
Wonderful. Thank you so much and welcome, Renee. Moving on to the information discussion action item. Item number 10A, public hearing for local control accountability plan presented by Olivia.
So if we can, the open public hearing is as of 4:05. And we did do this in the last June 5th meeting, but I wanted to make sure that the LCAP had been posted 72 hours beforehand. So we did revise some of the numbers in the LCAP due to the budget being revised. And due to us being a charter school, we can do the public hearing the same board meeting as long as it's done before the LCAP is approved. So being at first on the agenda, just want to go through quickly. The LCAP is the Local Control Accountability Plan. The state, now the way that we were funded is by LCFF Local Control Funding Formula. So depending on how many students we have, and this is their way of making sure that we're spending the money in a way that is setting goals and we're working towards those goals. So we have a mid-year check-in February. At that point, half of our expenditures had already been spent towards the goals that we had said we would spend them on. There's a LCAP survey that's sent out. So these results are that. So LA County, it looks like LA County and parents were the most that responded to our survey. The LCAP has 7 or 10 priorities. A few of those priorities do not, charters don't have to make sure that we meet those priorities, 9 and 10. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So, but all of these goals have to do with around those priorities. We're going to talk a little bit more about the priorities when we talk about the federal addendum later on in the agenda. But goal one is, and this input was from educational partners, so through advisory council, through LCAP meetings with leaders, and the LCAP survey is where these items came about. So goal one is of the action, equip students at all levels and all student groups with the tools to succeed in college, career, and life. And that's one of our mottos, our purposes in Gorman is to make sure that they're successful for when they graduate with us. By doing that, these were some of the things that we have in there as actions. One of the things that we do is the iReady diagnostic, and that's the little pie graph down there shows the blue and the green is how beneficial parents think that the iReady scores are. So it's really important that our teachers continue to work through those scores with the families. And then goal two is enhancing engagement, foster a positive climate, and inform decisions through communication, forums, personalized support, multiple tiers of support, and data-driven decisions. Two of those things that parents and educational partners said were beneficial was the Gorman newsletter and the parent seminars, and you'll see the pie graphs there reflect both of those. And goal three is provide a personalized learning model education to all students. So this encompasses basically our personalized learning model. You can go to the next slide. And goal four is to ensure equitable access to academic and social emotional supports for all students by optimizing in-person learning opportunities. And when you see the LCAP, it was on the website, it's in the board packet, it's printed at every resource center. It was printed last board meeting as well at every resource center for review. You'll see within these goals are multiple actions that reflect these things and how much money and how we are planning to meet those goals. Next slide. And then one of the things that was discussed last time too was just educational units, the importance of and the knowledge. So this is telling us that we need to work on making sure that families know how to use those educational units to benefit their students in our program. So if there's any comment, anybody that would like to comment on these, it is very similar to a public comment. So you come up, we would ask you to fill out the form, put your name on it. You have 3 minutes to comment. There's a total of 45 minutes at any of the locations. So Redlands, is there anyone there that would like to comment on the public hearing for the LCAP?
That's going to be a no from Redlands.
Thank you. How about Santa Clarita?
We are okay here too.
Okay, thank you. Anyone here would like to comment on the LCAP? Okay, thank you. So then the close of the public hearing would be at 4:10. Does the board members, before I close the public hearing, have any comment on? Okay, so we'll close it at 4:10. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Olivia. Moving on to item 10B, review, discussion, and approval of resolution, removal of authorized signer Jem Ross Williams on banking account for Antelope Valley Resource Center, again, presented by Olivia Duran.
Thank you. So this is another one. It was presented last board meeting. We had the number wrong on the resolution, so I want to make sure that we have the correct number. It's going to be resolution 2025, number 14. So if we can get that approved.
Add motion to.
I'll second.
Thank you. So that information is in the packet. Would you guys like it up to see, or do you have, so if there's no questions about it, or I would ask for approval of the Santa Clarita Resource Center ASB fundraiser. It's something that the board needs to approve so they can start doing those when school starts in August.
I'll motion.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstains? The ayes have it. Motion approved. Moving on to the item 10D, the GLCN Holiday Calendar 2025 through 2026. presented by Sylvia Montejano.
Hi, we're bringing the holiday schedule. We're requesting that the board approves a revision for the holiday schedule, minor revision to include the holiday vacation.
I motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstains? The ayes have it. Motion approved. Moving on to the item 10E, review, discussion, and approval of budgets for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, presented by Olivia Duran.
So we went back and took out the step increase for staff members and also cost for Antelope Valley and included increased legal fees. So that's where we land now is this is GLC network wide. But for GLC, if you keep scrolling for me. Keep going, go. Next one, there you go. So GLC, we end up in a deficit of 162,783, I believe. So, $162,733. And that, if the legal doesn't end up coming as much, then that would end up low, keep zeroing that out, or whatever's left over then would then go into reserves, and we would tag that as a facilities. And then for SBSC, we're in a deficit of 243,624, and that's due to the increase in the legal fees. So I have met with strategic planning, gone over the budget, asked any questions, confirmed, and also with the finance committee. But if the board still has any questions or any concerns, things that you want me to explain or ask David to help explain, we're here. And if not, then I'd ask for a motion to approve the budgets for 25-26 for GLC and also for SBSC.
I motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstains? The ayes have it. Motion approved. Moving on to the review, discussion, and approval of the EPA spending plan presented by Olivia Duran.
I will motion.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstains? The ayes have it. Motion approved. Moving on to item 10G, the review, discussion, and approval of adoption of the local control accountability plan.
So we've been talking about this. We talked about it last meeting. It's been in the packet. It's been posted on the website for the 72 hours required. I'm asking for approval of the local control accountability plan, the LCAP. We bring it to the board every 3 years. It's a 3-year document, and we want to make sure that we start somewhere and we're making progress in the way that we're spending LCFF funds. We are on the 2nd year. Next year will be the 3rd year, and then after that, we will begin to create a new LCAP, different goals, different action items through educational partner input. So if are there any questions at all around, once again, the GLC and the SBSC LCAP, all the goals and the actions are the same, just depending on how much money is being spent in those are a little slightly different, but because they are 2 LEAs, we have to have 2 of them approved.
I motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstains? The ayes have it. Motion approved. Moving on to item 10H, local performance indicators review presented by Olivia.
Yeah, I have a slide presentation for this one. So this is something that's approved every year, and it's reflected on our California dashboard through DataQuest. So all the schools have to report these and show what they are, and this is where the priorities are. So get the slideshow up. No. No. Yes. So what are local indicators? So here's our priorities. The state tells us that there's 10 priorities. Like I said, 8, 9, and 10 do not yet. 8, 9, and 10 don't have to do, charter schools, we don't have to meet those. So we have 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. I'm going to show you here 4, 5 have to do with our CASP scores, and 5 has to do with engagement, which is reflected through the California dashboard. So that's why we're not going to see 4 and 5 on here. But priority 1 is basic condition of learning. 2 is implementation of state standards. 3 is parental involvement and family engagement. Priority 6 is school climate. 7 is access to broad course of study. Go to the next slide. You can go to the next slide. So this is just talking about, we use a self-reflecting tool. So going through this every year, we look at where we were last year. Have we moved? Have we progressed? And then that's reflected and turned into the state through the dashboard. So part of it is that it needs to be presented to the board. This does not need to be approved, but presented to the board of directors. And then after that, it needs to be turned in, and then it's reflected on the dashboard. Next slide. So priority 1, basic services and conditions. This is appropriately assigned teachers, making sure that all of our teachers are credentialed, either hold a preliminary or a clear credential. This also asks about conditions of our buildings. So in good repair or, and then we use the 3 buildings for the resource centers there for those numbers. Next slide. Implementation of state academic standards. Our SET teams have worked really hard to make sure that our students are meeting those. The curriculum has the standards in there. History and social studies were initial implementation because we haven't gotten new standards for that content yet. 2 years ago was the next generation science standards. It's fully implemented, but there's still lots that we need to do to make sure that we're actually fully implemented and sustainable in the science. Next slide. Priority 2.2 is instructional material. This stayed the same from last year. Next slide. This one stayed the same from last year as well. Policies, programs to support staff. So professional development for the standards. Next slide. This is for PE. Being independent study, it's a challenge to make sure that we're covering the standards for PE. So that's why we have it as initial implementation. So unless we actually have students going through, the standards of PE, it'll probably either stay at the 3 or the 4 unless we move towards. But other than that, we stayed the same as last year for following academic standards. Next slide. Success in engaging the following activities with teachers and site administrators. So it has to do with professional learning, stayed the same. Next slide. Priority 3, parental involvement and family engagement. And this one is building relationships between school staff and families. And a lot of this came from, so this was the same as last year. We felt like we were not doing okay in there and sustaining. Next slide. And then here we have to report in a small narrative of strengths, areas of improvement, and plans to improve. So some of the areas for here was continuing with the homeless foster, some type of liaison, advisory council consisting of parents, making sure that we have an EL parent on that advisory council. We've had a challenge getting an EL parent on that advisory council. So it's just one of those things that we are always looking to improve. So next slide. Building partnerships for student outcomes. It's the same as last year. Next slide. And then areas of improvement, working with professional development and training for teachers, parents, and staff regarding UP, which is unduplicated pupil population. That's foster youth, EL youth. What's the other one? I'm drawing a blank. There's another population that's considered unduplicated pupils. And using data to reflect areas of need and growth and continuing to refine multiple tier support systems for all students, our MTSS system. Next slide. Seeking input from decision makers. So this is the same as last year. And I think we saw that was one of the areas from our survey that we need to work on, is to make sure that we have input from all educational partners. So that's an area we're going to work on. Next slide. And then areas of improvement, increasing parent awareness and engagement through council and the ELAC representation of a parent, EL parent on the advisory council. In the LCAP addressing in-person needs, including synchronous instruction, learning opportunities, LCAP maintenance goal, one of the goals. So we have a maintenance goal, a broad goal, different goals within the LCAP. And the maintenance goal to make sure that students are working on achievement, parent engagement, and then based on the feedback of educational partners for the broad goal for the LCAP for the 3 years was that the schools to continue addressing and add options for college and career readiness together with academic achievement through multiple services and actions. And then for improvement, parent participation through targeted surveys, parent collaboration with staff liaisons, and then Gorman will ensure that parents of English learners are represented on the advisory council. Next slide. And 6 is school climate. Continuing to work with advisory council, continuing with the homeless foster liaison, and based on feedback provided by parents, working with the student engagement, addressing the student engagement piece. And priority 7, access to a broad course of study. Tracking it, making sure there's equitable access, identifying barriers, and ensuring equal access to all students. So those are and this is a little bit more, I'll let you guys read through that, but pretty much it's our personalized learning model is what we do. So next slide. And then part of the improvement for these was to make sure that our low income, some of the homeless foster students having transportation to the resource center, at times we've had to give gas cards to them to make sure that they have that option to attend. Also with SPED students, if there's an opportunity or a need for that, make sure that they have those needs. And then internet access, I believe, was another one that we needed to continue to work on for all students to make sure that they have adequate internet. Next slide. And then if you had any questions or for me in regards to the local indicators. So all these will be reflected on the California dashboard, but it just has to be presented to you. But if you have questions, I am more than happy to try to answer them. Okay, thank you.
Good, thank you so much, Olivia. Moving on to the review and discussion of LCAP federal addendum.
So when we have the LCAP approved, we also need to present the federal addendum. Federal addendum is in your board packet. It's how we spend federal monies in alignment with the LCAP goals. And in there, you have your Title I, your Title II. Title I is for those students that fall within Title I. We're a targeted school, so our students have to take the 2 tests to make sure that they have federal addendums all the way at the end. Yeah. You have to make sure that they have 2 qualifying tests to qualify for low income. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not low income, for needing assistance for Title I. So that's where we give the Thrive tutoring, or we use our academic coaches in group settings to do targeted instruction. That's Title I. Title II is used for professional development. Title II funds, we have to make sure they're reflected in the federal addendum, and Title III and IV, I believe, are SPED and EL. So when the federal addendum, you do have it in your packet, but it's basically how we spend those funds, and then we have to report that to the state at the same time that we report, we have the LCAP approved. And this is just for review and discussion, so there's no approval of this, but you're able to. It's that LCAP that's 100 pages long for 2 schools. But it's something that's done every year, so.
So I know we do have that in our board packet. Does anybody, board, obviously have any questions about that? Questions, comments?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Olivia. It is now 4:27. I will adjourn to closed session.